Right, I'm just sitting out the front of the hospital. It's time for my COVID test. I don't know why, but the COVID test for me is the hardest part of this whole process. I completely lost my mind last time and just started bawling when they were doing it to me last time. I've been sitting here stalling for a little bit. I've already had a blood test, pelvic ultrasound, and an injection this morning. But this is the hardest bit for me. I don't know why. Anyway, this is why this is the moment when I really need to take a deep breath, get strong physically, and just remind myself what I'm doing this for. A family with Jon is what's on the other side of all this, just because it's a little bit more challenging to have what everyone else can have with their families. I don't know, I hope it makes us stronger and more appreciative parents. Yeah, I just need to get it over with, really. So silly, people probably watching this thinking, oh, it's not that bad. I was thinking when I had my blood test this morning, though, that used to be hard for me. And now, 50 blood tests later, I'm better at that. So yeah, I just have to really think about what I'm doing this for. It's like childbirth, isn't it? It's just one of those things that you do because the outcome is so great. The hard part with IVF is that the outcome is not certain. But just in case it's going to work out, you have to go through it. So you just got to keep focusing on that, on what you do want, the positive, good outcome, rather than all the things that could go wrong. So I'm just going to focus on that this morning and march myself in there and get this done. All right, wish me luck. All right, you guys, I did it. So that was definitely the best one that I've had in terms of how I managed it. And I just want to share what I did, because I know that so many of you have to go through the same kinds of things. So I went in there, as I got out of the car and I was walking up, I was just marching with purpose, just trying to get really strong, get myself centered, and taking really deep breaths and just thinking, it's for our family. And then I went through all this pre-checks where they ask you all the questions, and I just kept standing really strong. And then they say, can you go sit on the chair and just wait for them to call your name? But I didn't sit down. I stayed standing up, and I just stayed really strong and centered. Oh God, I was so scared. But I just knew that if my body was right, if my physical body was in a good state, then my mental whatever would be in a good state. And then they called me. Again, I just marched in. I must have looked a bit like a crazy person, but just marching in like a soldier, strong. I sat down in the chair, and then they're like, okay, we're going to go in. And same thing, just take a deep breath and then just bang, put my head back and just staying in that really focused. And I'm just thinking in my head, it's for Jon, it's for our babies. Oh, I hate that test so much. Oh, of all the tests I have to do, that's the one I hate the most. And then she put the thing down my throat, and I involuntarily just grabbed her hand. She put it in, and I grabbed her hand and pulled it back, but luckily she got my throat. And then I sat on my hands so that I wouldn't do it again. She's like, put your head back when you're ready for the nose. And I'm like, big breath, put my head back, and did it. And then the whole time, and then the second one was harder because you know what you're in for. But I was just saying, this is for Jon and for our family. And if this means that he can have his own children, then I'll do it 1,000,000 times. And even if he can't have his own children, this is all a step in that process. And one day we'll figure out a way to have a family. And this is just a step in that process. So I try not to think of the fact that IVF is so often unsuccessful, because it's all a step in the process that one day we'll figure out a way to have a family. And whether it's this process or the next one, it's all a step in that process. So I never see it as a failure, never see it as it didn't work, because it just leads us closer and closer to figuring out what the right way is for us. Oh, but I hope that I never have to have a COVID test again. I hate the COVID test. But I'm really proud of myself for how I handled that, because last time I was just a mess. I was like this already from the start of the test. But I really do believe, and I've learnt from different teachers, that if you can get your body in a strong state, then your mind will follow. So that's what I did today. So maybe that'll help you with whatever horrible tests you have coming up. Okay, now I think I need to go and eat chocolate or something.
So how did it go?
It's like you're
I ended up
You're scared.
I know when I get a call. I was on another call, and I know when I get a call, when you sort of go out to a scan or some sort of procedure, I know something may have gone on.
No.
So yeah.
I just had a lot of trouble parking today with the COVID restrictions.
Yeah.
There's no parking. Anyway.
And we were trying to get blood. You were trying to get into a time frame, all that sort of thing.
Yeah, I really needed to get my bloods through, and I was so lucky that the phlebotomist like snuck me in. The courier was there to take the blood away, and she was like, "Come in."
It's lucky we know her well.
Oh yeah, she was very kind to
Really
us
well.
They got my scan in early as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure about what I'm seeing on the scan. There's just so much left over from all the previous, doing 9 cycles back to back and
I think
15
I mentioned
over.
it last time. It'd be like a war zone in there. The debris everywhere.
I will say that I do have the nicest lining in town. Every time I go in there, I'll go, oh, look at that lining.
Oh, look at your lining.
It's looking pretty good.
While you're sitting there going,
well, it's at least they're kind of like, they give a girl a compliment before they completely violate you. So that's nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really wanted this one to be just like straightforward, because we need a good number of good quality eggs this cycle. And I just can't tell from the scans, and I'm pretty good at reading these, but because on my my right ovary, left right's hard for me, but on my right ovary, there's
doesn't change much,
Yeah.
G'day, monkey.
Hello, monkey.
You come and have a yeah. And he's gonna just park. No, he's anyway.
Say hello. Say hello. Hello.
He's like, I'm not impressed at this. That's his actual face for everything.
He's like, can I go now,
He's just looking
please?
down his nose.
Okay, you can go. Okay, hang on. What was
Get
it?
off my papers.
Okay, follicles. So on my right one, there's a lot of grey matter in the middle, and the grey is the leftover follicles from last cycle. And we got 12 out last cycle, so there was a few follicles there, and they're still healing up. I was hoping the extra time would mean they'd heal better, but they haven't really. And because of that, there's a whole lot of grey in the middle, and then you see just the tiny black follicles on each side, and there's only sort of 4 or 5 on that one, and they're all pretty small actually. They're sitting around sort of 12 millimeters. On the left side, there's a bit more going on. There's one really big follicle which is sitting at about 20 millimeters, but it has a straight line through it and then a little circle in it, which means it's really septated and loculated, as they call it. But that's what you're looking for. If the follicle has a straight line through it, that means it's kind of got a septation. Or if it's got a little kind of polyp in it, that's not good either. So there's one that looks like it's no good. But then there's another 7 on that side that look pretty good, but again, they're just all muddled in together, and it's kind of hard to tell. And there's a lot of kind of grey ones, and it's kind of, my ovary is sitting in a funny spot at the moment as well. I didn't know ovaries move so much, but they seem to. So I feel like part of me is like, we've seen scans like this and we've had good results before.
Yeah.
It's just so much pressure on this one, because this is the only time we're ever going to get to put fresh sperm and fresh eggs together. So I was really hoping that I'd knock it out of the park this one, but which I might. I mean, these follicles might come good. I'm really going to make sure that it's my doctor looking at the scan today and not just the nurses, because I think we need to get the timing exactly right. And in the past, because I have such a long cycle, 20 days, we've given me an extra Ogalutran the morning after the trigger to kind of hold on to those follicles, which I don't think we need this time because the good looking follicles are in that smaller size. So we really want them to grow and get juicy before Monday.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the result.
That's the result. Well done again.
It could be good. It could be okay.
It's all going to be great. I can honestly tell you that by the end of Monday, you would have had your procedure and I would have had mine.
That's going to happen. Actually, when I got my COVID test,
It's definite.
when I got my COVID test, they're like, "When's your procedure?" And I'm like, "Monday." And she's like, "Could that change? Is your doctor said in?" I'm like, "It's Monday." And she's like, "Are you sure? Has your doctor said it?" And I'm like, "It's Monday."
It's Monday.
John's having surgery as well.
Yeah.
There's no changing this, which is why we want to get the medication exactly right leading up to, because we can't change the actual date of the surgery. But we can change the time of the surgery, we can change the meds that I take, we can change what time I take the meds. So
I've actually been given mine.
what?
I've got to be in the hospital at 7:30.
Oh, in the morning?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll probably actually be under it at exactly the same time.
So, well, I think what we're probably going to do is I'll be able to take Laura in and drop her off. Then I'll come back home and meet my other mate, Johnny Summers. And he's going to drop me back.
Because I usually do a 38-hour trigger, which is longer than the normal 36-hour trigger, they always put me first up in the morning. So if the list starts to run a little bit late, then they're not leaving me for like 40 hours accidentally. So I'm usually first at 6 a.m. So, but my surgery is usually 7:30, so that could be interesting.
I'm going to be at the hospital. So.
That would be cool if we were both sedated at the same
I did
time.
like the anaesthetist.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, cool dude. Rang me and we had a bit of a chat.
The only good part about today is that John also had to have a COVID test. And he's like, "Oh, I see what you mean now. That's not very comfortable."
No, I didn't even notice.
Oh,
I barely had to take my helmet off. No, it is a little unnerving.
Look, I just think it's nice that you're having any kind of medical procedure. On Monday, they're just kind of...
She blames me for everything.
You and your
The
cancer.
pressure of the world is on my shoulders.
Well, on Monday, I really hope they just rip your testicle open, just cut.
Oh my God.
Just demolish it. Just completely destroy it and get...
You know, in my head
everything
right
out.
now, I'm envisaging you in a set of high heels just squashing my ball.
But squeezing
How
out
bad
the goodness.
is that?
Squeezing out the goodness. I don't even wear high heels.
I do in my meditations. I actually envisage like a concert where I'm on the stage and basically I just see sperm all out in front of me and they're all just like, yes, 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 yes. And they're crowd surfing. So I get quite elaborate and quite...
We were talking about this
imaginative.
today, actually. Like, so much of they're like, they say visualize your follicles in the sperm. And they have these meditations, they're like, close your eyes and visualize. And I'm like, yeah, that's nice sometimes, but I think for us, we need to make it a little bit more visceral, a little bit more fun. So John, sometimes I see him do it. He'll be in the car and I'm like, you're imagining sperm right now. Because I've started a new one. I quite often sing to my follicles in my head. Like I get songs and I think, because I don't know, music and auditory is really big for me, and I get songs. And the one I've got lately for these little follicles that are going up is it goes, I'm coming up. I want the world to... And so my follicles are like, I'm coming
And she doesn't
up.
realise she actually singing that out aloud. So
No,
then
I
I end up with it in my head. Or maybe she doesn't and I just end up with it in my head anyway.
Yeah. And before I have every surgery, I have the same song in my head, which probably no one will know. It's from Les Mis, the musical, and it's just about keeping them safe and saying they won't feel any pain. And
No need to sing that one.
no, people don't care about that. But you've got to find your way, right, to do your
The
visualization.
other way, my morning and night meditations, I'm sitting there and my sperms are doing chin-ups and handstand push-ups and stuff like that. Smiling at me, winking at me.
Do they have one eye or two?
Huh. Never even really thought of that. Two.
2 eyes and just big, and they have arms as well, don't they?
Yeah.
Muscle.
Yeah.
But it is good to have these little funny things, even if they're silly, because it just helps you keep in a positive mind frame, huh?
Yeah, I told you while we were driving one day about my little imaginations, my little visualizations.
The sperm ones, yeah.
I even see them like doing laps around the pool, like the testicles, this round thing, and they're just like they're doing laps like a whirlpool type thing, and they're chasing each other, and then they're jumping out like dolphins. Yeah. Anyway.
Like dolphins.
Anyway.
Well, I mean, it works for us, so I guess find what works for you.
You do you. You do you.
Although sometimes, like, I put my meditations on in the room. The other day I was meditating and the woman's going, imagine this month's follicles are juicy and plump. And I heard John open the door and then I hear him just close the door again. Like, he's like, I don't want any part of that follicle business. Yeah, but I think if you're going to do it a lot, you got to have these little patterns just to interact. Because also, we use it when we're not feeling great. Like if we're feeling down about it or we're having a hard day, I just think, I'm coming up. And it just makes me go, my follicles are growing. It's all good.
Yeah.
Anyway, not long now. I think the scales are okay.
Yeah.
And now we're in quarantine until surgery.